Boilerhouse Garage. In this video, in case you haven't guessed already, I'm in the 70s Cavalier and 70s period dress to do the 2022 London-Brighton Classic Car Run. It's about an hour and a half to get to the Brooklands Museum in London, which I'm en route from now. I'm going to record most of the events from the Brooklands Museum up to the Madeira Drive in Brighton. And any stop-offs we make along the way, of course. The Cavalier is running well. It started fine this morning. I'm going to take it quite steady. I'm going to try and keep between sort of 55-60 miles an hour. Got a full tank of fuel and 2 jerry cans in the back, so hopefully I won't have to make any stops for fuel. The longest trip's going to be getting back from Brighton to home again, so that's, especially at this sort of speed, it's going to be about 2.5 hours. The Brighton run itself doesn't take the direct route from London to Brighton. It goes, which would be like the M23 to A23, I think it is. They take some more scenic route along the outside, but yeah, we'll find out. I'm on the A40 now. I'll get to the M40 shortly once I get past Oxford. And once I get to the M25, I'll have to rely on the good old Google Maps to find my way to the Brooklands Museum. Once you get to Brooklands, you don't actually go, if you do one of these events yourself in the future, you don't actually follow the brown tourist signs to get to the Brooklands Museum. They want you to take a different entrance in the back, but the organisers give you a different postcode to find your way to the back entrance, and I think you start, when you actually start the race, you start near Concord. Like I said, race then, it's not a race, but when you start the run, the photos are taken with Concord next to you, I think. At least that's what I've seen from previous events. Anyway, I'll check back with you when I'm on the M40. Break down on the motorway, actually pull to the hard shoulder before slowing down. So I've just got on the M40, it's about 50 miles to London. I don't know if that means London city centre or just to the North Circular M25 or whatever, but we're going alright. The temperature seems fine, I've had no oil pressure issues. Fuel gauge is registering half a tank, even though I've just filled it up, so I think the sender's a bit sticky on that. Also, I think the throttle's a little sticky because any time I stop at the roundabouts and traffic lights in Oxford, the car's idle speed's a little bit high anyway. Cause since I fit the new Weber carb, I've only got the idle stop screw is set just ever so slightly touching its stop, so I can't have it turned back anymore. But I think the throttle is also sticking as well, because when I'm waiting at the lights, it's doing at least 1500 RPM at idle, if not a little more. Because I've got a bigger radiator, I've just done a coolant change, got a new thermostat and everything. It should be okay, as well as the water pump, and it's got a fixed fan there, which tends to overcool. That should help keep it cool when if I do get stuck in traffic and it's revving too high. It's not ideal in any case, but I've tried lubing up the cable and the mechanism, and that's done nothing. It just seems to idle at about 1300 RPM at a guess, because I've got no tachometer. But after a bit of a drive, the idle sort of increases to about 1500 RPM, like I say. Yesterday I actually serviced the car. I did a full oil change. Something I noticed about the oil though, I've been using this it's not Mobil 1, it's Mobil 2000. It's 10W40, but I remember 10W40 when you used to pour it felt quite thick. You could sort of tell it was 1040, and this stuff like pours like water, and when I drained the old oil out, which was the same oil already in there, that was running out very thinly, more like a 0W30 or something like that. And mean, I don't know if labels are swapped or anything on oil, but I have put in a Lucas stop leak additive, which I'm doing a bit of a review on. And cause this car, because it was sat for so long in a barn, I think it's got a leak from the rear main seal plus a couple of other places. And I'm hoping they stop leak, because it's not a serious oil leak. I know ideally you want to actually replace seals and gaskets when they leak, but because it's only a small oil leak, I just want to see if the stop leak does make any difference there. But of course you have to do a few 100 miles and leave it some time before you actually notice any differences according to the instructions. So I thought the Brighton run here would be a perfect means to test that in a shorter period of time. The Lucas stop leak's actually very thick and gloopy, so if that 1040 oil turns out not to be 1040, I'm hoping that the gloopy Lucas stuff would help thicken it up a little bit. And this car's got solid lifters as well, so I'm not sort of worried about it blocking hydraulic lifters because I haven't got any. It still sounds quite sewing machiney. I'm sort of getting used to the revs now. I'm sneaking over 60 miles an hour a little bit because it's a 4-speed only. It's a 1-to-1 ratio in fourth, so yeah, it's revving quite high when at cruising speed. I mean, you could drive at 70 in this all day, and I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. It's just that I don't want to push it because obviously I've got a long way to go, and it is over 45 years old now. It's only done 75,000 miles. It's just rolled over to 75,600, and I think I've got, we'll find out when I get back, but I think I've got about 350 miles to do today. So it's not too bad. It's just that obviously I'm going at a slower speed, and it is in an old car. There's several stops as well, so it's not like I have to do it in one go. Anyway, I'll check back when we're just getting into the Brooklands Museum. Seems a little strange driving at 55-60 on a reasonably open motorway early in the morning on a Sunday. So it wasn't so long ago I was in an Aston Martin DB11 doing 160 miles an hour for a short period, obviously, on this very road, and which is the fastest I've actually been in any car. And yeah, now I'm trundling along at low speeds in this. I'm actually snuck up to 70 now to overtake, but yeah, I suppose you have to drive in a suitable manner for the car. As well as the high idle speed that I can't seem to adjust back anymore, since fitting that Weber carburettor, I've noticed although the car's a lot more reliable, it doesn't have the running issues it did before. It actually runs a lot slower, so I don't get the smoke on startup, but it's not running as rich, because before when you left the car to idle you could actually smell it. It was quite a rich old car smell, and since fitting the new carburettor it smells normal, as it should. But of course I haven't got the performance anymore. This car's supposed to be about, I think it's 90 horsepower, maybe 95 or something, and since fitting the Weber carb it would have been about 100 to 105 horsepower, which it's noticeable in a light car it is quite underpowered to standard. But now I seem to have standard power output again. This is probably 90 horsepower at best. And it may have been the case where the last carburettor was jetted to run richer. Of course there's not much in the way of adjustments on Weber carburettors. You've got the idle mix and idle speed, and that's pretty much it. Anything else you actually have to change the jets. And something else that's different as well since fitting that is previously the last, it's an identical carburettor, it was just an older one. To start I'd have to have full choke, start the car, once it's running put it to half choke, and then leave it at roughly half choke until it's up to temperature, put the choke back in, and it idled and drove fine until I was having problems. With this new one it runs terrible if I've got any amount of choke at all, and this morning I started it with no choke, just a tiny bit of throttle, and yet I haven't had the choke out at all. It doesn't seem to like using it, which I think is more typical of Weathers. On cold mornings they just seem to be a bit harder to start, and you've got the option of using a bit of choke, but this hasn't needed any. Of course it is summertime, even though it was a cold morning. Of course, something I could do with is checking the timing as well, because when you fit a new carbon set it up, you should also recheck things like your timing. Some on these open CIH engines, I'm not sure about those. When you set the timing statically, you have to have cylinder 4 at top dead centre, not cylinder 1 as is normal, on its top dead centre compression stroke to follow. And I'm not sure if it's the same when you use the timing gun. Am I supposed to put the lead on the HT lead for cylinder 4 and time it there, or do you do it on 1? Because I'm not sure if it makes much difference, because cylinder 1 and 4 will be at top dead centre at pretty much the same time. But I say pretty much, that could make all the difference if it's a degree or two out of its ideal setting. Of course, because I run this on the super unleaded 99 octane, I can have the car set with the original advanced set. It would have had a standard when we had leaded petrol, because leaded petrol was 100 octane plus, 4-star. I guess these are things I can have looked at a little bit later, sort of snagging issues of cars starting and driving, which is the main thing you can ask of it really, and what it wasn't doing before changing the carburetor. So the traffic's making me sneak over 60. So that's 60, there we go. It's 60 on the clock, so it's probably about 55 in real world speed measurement. So we've got a bit of sunshine out now. We had a bit of rain last night, but don't know what the weather forecast is like in London or Brighton. I brought an umbrella just in case, but with any luck, well, have a nice day. Hey, check this out. Who put speed ramps at a classic car event? Morning.
Hello Ricky,
Hello there. Oh,
good to see you.
Yeah, and you, thank you.
Looking good, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, cheers, better than the car. Cheers.
Head down to the bottom of the hill, Stuart will pick you up from there, sort your pack out.
Perfect, thanks very much for your help. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Morning, mate. Pick a space, any space?
Yeah, head down. If there's not a space opened up on these,
Yep.
head down to the marshal and they'll redirect you from there.
Nice one, cheers.
Enjoy the day.
You too, mate, cheers. Morning. Not saving this for anyone, are you? This space? No. Oh, that's right then. Oh, right. Turn it off before I smoke everyone out.
Lovely outfit.
Oh, thank you. Likewise. Yeah. No, I normally dress like this.
grow the tash?
Well, I grew a beard for about 2 months because I couldn't go around obviously with sideburns and a tash on. So yeah, it's a couple of months and I just took it all off.
Good for you. That's great.
Cheers. Thank you. That's the trouble with it being in that barn, wasn't it? It must have been like the condensation or something.
It was covered in carpet.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yes.
they put carpet on it. Oh, so
They
it was...
carpet on it, so it was soaked.
Oh, I see. Ah, right.
Consistently soaked.
Oh, right. Yeah, I thought it might have been like dewdrops or something, thing, but yeah, that makes sense now, because it's
so
more like a blanket.
Carpet, blankets,
Yeah.
piled up over it.
Yeah.
It's good to see it on the road.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all went past an MOT when the guy I bought it off of,
No
Carl
idea.
Norris.
Bit of a dealer.
He's up north. Yeah, he does
Yeah,
like
that'll be the guy I sold it
classic
to.
parts and stuff. But
Yeah, I'll
lovely. Anyway, I better
yeah,
dash
I'll
off
leave
and get
it
me
to-
kit. Anyway,
I'll
yeah,
leave it, get a few bits.
yeah, help yourself, mate. Yeah, cheers. I'll see you in a bit. Oh, you type. Oh, thank you. I'm bold under here, believe it or not. Cheers. Hiya. Thank you very much. Cheers.
I just made it quickly.
Yeah, clearly.
It looks like it's just been dumped.
Oh, it's fine.
By the time it's done, you soaked anyway.
You're wet because the second one was more
No, we'll know it's you. Hello.
That's it. Oh, sorry, you're right. Oh, 152, lovely. I got you. Okay, thank you very much.
Have a great run.
You too, mate. Cheers. Hey, baby. That'll do. Thank you.